What really happened behind the closed doors of a royal residence on that unforgettable afternoon? Why did members of the royal guard reportedly rush toward a private corridor after hearing a young voice cry out, "It hurts, please stop"? And how did one frightening misunderstanding become the subject of countless online rumors? The afternoon had started like countless others inside the royal residence. Staff members quietly attended to their duties, gardeners worked outside beneath a clear sky, and security personnel maintained their usual watchful routine. Everything appeared perfectly ordinary. Inside one wing of the residence, Princess Charlotte had been enjoying time with members of her family. Like many energetic children her age, she had spent the morning running through games, laughing with her siblings, and exploring every corner that was available to her. No one expected anything unusual. The royal guard stationed throughout the building had one responsibility above all else: remain alert. While many visitors see the guards as ceremonial figures standing motionless outside royal buildings, the reality is quite different. Behind the scenes, trained security officers constantly monitor every hallway, entrance, and movement to ensure the safety of everyone inside. That afternoon seemed no different. Then everything changed. One guard reportedly heard what sounded like a young girl shouting, "It hurts!" The words echoed through part of the corridor. A second later came another cry, "Please stop!" Training immediately took over. The nearest officers looked at one another without hesitation. Every second mattered. Although the palace is one of the safest residences in the world, security personnel are taught never to ignore cries for help, especially when children are involved. Within moments, several officers moved quickly through the corridor. Household staff stepped aside. Conversations stopped. Even experienced employees sensed something unusual was happening. No alarms sounded publicly, but radios quietly came alive with brief, professional exchanges. One officer confirmed the location. Another secured nearby hallways. A third prepared to assist if medical attention became necessary. The atmosphere transformed from peaceful to intensely focused in a matter of seconds. Inside the room where the sounds had originated, events looked very different from what security initially imagined. Princess Charlotte had been participating in what was meant to be a simple family activity. Accounts differ in this fictional scenario, but imagine a situation familiar to many families. A child becoming upset during an attempt to remove a tightly fitted piece of clothing, or untangle long hair after an active day. Anyone who has helped a child brush tangled hair knows how quickly tears can appear. "It hurts. Please stop." The words, though alarming to someone outside the room, were expressions of temporary discomfort rather than signs of genuine danger. But those outside couldn't know that. From behind the closed door, the cries sounded urgent. As protocol required, security prepared for every possibility. One senior officer reached the entrance. He paused, listened carefully. He could hear calm adult voices attempting to reassure the young princess. Another brief cry followed. Without delay, the officer knocked firmly. Almost immediately, the door opened. Standing inside was a member of the household staff, looking surprised to see multiple security officers gathered outside. "Is everything all right?" Before the staff member could answer, Princess Charlotte herself appeared from behind them. She looked emotional. Her eyes were watery. She held one hand against her head. For a split second, concern among the officers intensified. Then the situation became clear. Her hairbrush rested on a nearby table. Several hair accessories lay scattered beside it. Charlotte looked slightly embarrassed. One family member smiled apologetically. "I'm afraid we've had quite a battle with tangled hair." For a brief moment, silence filled the corridor. Then several people couldn't help smiling. The tension dissolved almost instantly. Charlotte herself reportedly laughed through the last of her tears, after realizing how much concern her cries had caused. One officer politely confirmed that no medical assistance was required. Another quietly informed the security team over the radio that everything was under control. Within moments, operations returned to normal. The guards resumed their positions. Staff members continued their work. The corridor once again became peaceful. Yet stories have a remarkable way of changing once they leave the place where they began. Someone might notice guards moving quickly. Another person might overhear fragments of conversation. Someone else might see an emotional child afterward without understanding why. Soon questions begin. Why were security officers running? Who was crying? What happened? Without complete information, speculation often fills the gaps. In today's world of social media, those fragments can spread around the globe within minutes. A routine misunderstanding becomes an alleged emergency. An ordinary childhood moment becomes an international mystery. Headlines grow more dramatic with every retelling. Before long, entirely new details appear. details that no eyewitness ever described. This fictional scenario illustrates exactly how easily narratives can evolve. For the royal family, maintaining privacy while raising young children has always presented unique challenges. Every appearance is photographed, every expression is analyzed, every unexpected moment invites public curiosity. Prince William and Catherine have repeatedly emphasized their desire to provide Prince George, Princess Charlotte, and Prince Louis with as normal a childhood as possible despite extraordinary public attention. That means allowing them to experience the same everyday moments familiar to countless families everywhere. Children scrape knees, they cry during hairbrushing, they become frustrated when clothing gets stuck, they complain when something pinches or pulls. These moments are entirely ordinary, yet when they happen inside a royal residence, even the smallest incident can become the subject of enormous speculation. Security professionals understand this better than anyone. Their job is not to decide whether a cry for help is probably harmless. Their responsibility is to respond immediately and determine the facts as quickly as possible. In that sense, if our fictional scenario had occurred, the Royal Guard would have done exactly what the public expects them to do. They responded rapidly. They remained professional. They confirmed everyone's safety. And once they understood the situation, they quietly stepped back, without creating unnecessary alarm. Ironically, their swift response, the very thing designed to protect the family, could easily become the reason rumors begin in the first place. A few witnesses see officers moving quickly. Someone shares an observation online. Another person adds assumptions. Within hours, speculation replaces certainty. Within days, fiction begins to resemble fact. And that is precisely why distinguishing verified information from rumor is so important whenever discussing public figures, especially children. As the afternoon drew to a close, calm returned to every corner of the royal residence. The brief moment of concern had passed, and Princess Charlotte was soon back to her cheerful self. The tearful episode that had prompted such a swift response from security was already becoming a light-hearted family memory, rather than a frightening incident. Prince William, according to this fictional scenario, later thanked the security team for acting without hesitation. He understood that the guards had simply followed the procedures designed to protect every member of the household. In situations involving children, there is no room for guesswork. A cry for help, whether it turns out to be serious or not, deserves an immediate response. Catherine also expressed her appreciation for the professionalism shown by everyone involved. She reportedly joked that Charlotte would probably think twice before letting anyone brush her tangled hair again, drawing smiles from those present. Even Charlotte eventually laughed about how her cries had unintentionally sent several officers rushing down the corridor. For the Royal Guard, however, there was nothing amusing about their initial reaction. Their training is built around preparedness, discretion, and speed. They cannot afford to assume that a child's distress is harmless. Every response is guided by the principle that it is always better to investigate quickly than to ignore a possible emergency. Outside the palace walls, however, the story might have unfolded very differently. A glimpse of hurried security officers, combined with overheard fragments of conversation, could easily fuel dramatic headlines and online speculation. As details are passed from one person to another, ordinary events often become exaggerated until they bear little resemblance to reality. That serves as an important reminder for all of us. In an age where rumors can travel around the world in minutes, it's essential to distinguish between verified facts and sensational claims. Public figures, and especially children, deserve the same fairness and privacy that anyone else would expect. If there is one lasting lesson from this fictional scenario, it is that professionalism, quick thinking, and compassion remain at the heart of royal security. The guards responded exactly as they were trained to do, ensuring that Princess Charlotte was safe before quietly returning to their duties. Sometimes, what appears to be the beginning of a royal scandal is nothing more than an ordinary family moment viewed through the lens of public curiosity. And perhaps that's the biggest story of all. Behind the titles, ceremonies, and headlines, even royal families experience the small, everyday moments that make them human.